Hello, legit KidLit viewers. I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Alexis. Welcome to our show. Today we welcome Jessica Speer, a middle grade author whose goal is to help parents and kids thrive. She is the author of two middle grade books, Middle School Safety Goggles Advised. Love that title. And BFF or NRF, which I also love that title. So welcome, Jessica.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be with everyone.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your books?
Yeah, so my books, as you mentioned, are for kind of a middle grade audience. And what I like to do is make them really interactive. So when I was, in those years, I loved books that had quizzes and choose your own ending stories. So that's what I do. I write books that kids can really dive into topics that they might be dealing with in their day-to-day lives, but in a fun way.
I really like the quizzes and the interactive things. It reminds me of like the teen magazines I would get with you know. So
Yeah,
I really think kids would like that.
Yeah, very much inspired by those teen magazines that we read a ton of, and those old choose your own adventure books, which I love.
Yes. I'm surprised those aren't more not more popular because I think they are popular still, but there aren't more of them.
Yeah.
So let's get a peek at some things we're going to cover in this episode. We have a madlib activity, a survival guide to middle school, what to do if you are struggling with a friendship, and how to improve your school.
All right. So, to get to know your most recent book, Middle School Safety Goggles Advised, we are going to do a Mad Lib with the first page. So, we're going to ask you different parts of speech and then plug it into the story. Then, we're going to read the final new version of the actual story. For those at home, you can click pause when we show the graphic and fill out your words before watching and see what hilarious stories you come up with. All right. So, let's begin. Can you give us a plural animal?
Hamsters.
Okay.
Got it.
Noun,
Cave.
place,
Zimbabwe.
verb,
Chase.
plural noun,
Textbooks.
adjective,
Hilarious.
plural noun,
Cowgirls.
noun,
Library.
place,
Castle. Windsor
adjective,
Castle. We'll make it a specific place. Windsor Castle.
I've
adjective,
been there.
Me too. Adjective. Bumpy.
all right, another adjective,
Slimy.
a number,
467.
adjective,
Red.
noun,
Laptop.
okay, plural noun,
Pencils.
another plural noun,
Skateboards.
isn't it so hard to think on the spot?
I know. But things are always triggered by my last thoughts. I'm trying to
Right,
get over that.
All right, we got a few more left. Another adjective,
Fluffy.
noun,
Grasshoppers.
and two more adjectives.
Sad and exuberant.
Oh,
All right.
you're testing my spelling abilities.
I'm glad you're the one typing.
Thank you, spell check there for that one. Let me make sure this updates here. Let me refresh. So teachers or educators, you can print we'll have a link below that you can print this and work on it with your students. So let's read your story. It's not, hold on. It's not updating for me. Let's try one more time. Here we go. Okay, let me share my screen and let's read your story, and then we will read what the actual story is, or the actual first page. Okay, the not very scientific formula for middle school. Step 1, take a large group of hamsters in a cave. Step 2, combine them in a new Zimbabwe. Step 3, chase with a complicated schedule of classes and new textbooks. Add a hilarious dose of cowgirls, library, and hormones. Step 4, pour into a packed Windsor castle filled with diverse personalities, bumpy food, and slimy odors. That might be middle school. Heat to 467 degrees. It's no wonder that what emerges is some pretty red stuff, not to mention stress. Yes, there are cool things about middle school, like more laptops, new pencils, and new skateboards, but there's baffling stuff too, like fluffy judgment, the whole popularity thing, and of course, grasshoppers. These behaviors range from sad to exuberant to painful.
I like that. We can learn from that.
We can.
It's a
So
new
here,
story.
do you want to read your first page for us, or do you want me to? The actual first page.
Oh, you read it. You did such a great
Okay.
job.
All right, the not very scientific formula for middle school. Step 1, take a large group of kids in puberty. Step 2, combine them in a new school. Step 3, blend with a complicated schedule of classes and new teachers. Add a generous dose of tests, homework, and hormones. Step 4, pour into a packed lunchroom filled with diverse personalities, bland food, and unpleasant odors. Heat to 400 degrees. It's no wonder that what emerges is some pretty strange stuff, not to mention stress. Yes, there are cool things about middle school, like more independence, new friends, and new activities, but there's baffling stuff too, like harsh judgment, the whole popularity thing, and of course, drama. These behaviors range from awkward to annoying to painful. I love that. That was a lot of fun. Thank you for doing that,
I
Lucas.
like it. I want to now write a hamster story.
I know, hamsters in middle school. I mean, that's a story.
And skateboards. I mean, I
Yes.
want new skateboards every time I go.
Yes.
So we know that school can be a great place for kids, but it can also be really scary, and middle school can be one of the hardest. What would you say are 5 things that kids need to survive and thrive in middle school?
Good question. Okay, so middle school is super awesome, but also filled with change. And as we all know, sometimes change can be a little weird. So here's what I'd say 5 things. 1, it's okay to be yourself. You know, sometimes we feel like we can't and we need to fit in and do certain things, but it's okay to be yourself. And it's number 2, it's super important to let other people be themselves. Like let other people be who they want to be. Number 3 is it's okay to make mistakes, because we all do. We all make mistakes. We all say exactly the wrong thing and do something awkward. And, that's being human. So that's okay, even though it feels kind of uncomfortable. So that's all right. Number 4, stay open to new people and experiences, because that's what middle school's all about, right? New people, new experiences. So stay open to all of that. And number 5, let's see what number 5 is. Sometimes when you're having a really tough time, it's helps to find a way to laugh. So is there any way to find some humor in those times where you just kind of want that day to go by? Just how can you find some ways to laugh about that?
I think my favorite out of those is to let others be themselves. I think we forget that part sometimes. We think
Yeah.
about ourselves, but we forget that others need that space too.
Yeah, because in middle school, everybody's trying out new stuff. They might be trying out new personalities, or they might be trying out a new group, or so just letting people try out that stuff.
I love that. So, say there is a student who is struggling with friendships this year. What advice would you give that student?
The first thing I would say is to know that is totally normal. especially in middle school, there tends to be sometimes changes in friendships. So it's normal to be struggling in a friendship. That's a totally normal human experience. And then also know that you've got choices. So, every situation is different. So you've got choices there. You might choose to speak up to try to improve that situation. You might choose to wait it out and see what happens. You might choose to maybe put some energy into some other friendships. So yeah, to remember that, hey, it's okay. This is totally normal to have some friendship struggles, and to remember that you've got choices there, and just figure out what is the best choice for you in this situation.
Love that. Wise words. So we are all about being change makers. What are your suggestions for how students can improve their school?
One thing is, sometimes we forget how much power our own actions and reactions have. So just by choosing to behave and react in a certain way will have a ripple effect on other things. So for example, say we hear some really juicy piece of gossip, that actually is kind of not so nice to somebody involved in that. So we have a choice. What do we want to do with that? Do we want to just kind of stop that in its tracks, not share it anymore, or do we want to share that? So how we behave matters. And then two, we also can be a voice for change. So say you have a really good idea for your school. You can be a voice for that change. Put together a little plan, maybe set up a meeting with the right person, be it a teacher or be it a school principal, but know that you can be an agent for change too. So think about that. What are your options, and who are the people that you need to meet with to start to make that change happen?
That's good. I like that advice, both inside and outside changes.
Yeah.
So you have something fun for us to do and our viewers to do?
Ooh, okay, so what I thought might be fun is we're going to do a choose your own ending from this book, my book that released, Middle School Safety Goggles Advice. So in this book, what I did is I met with 7th grade students, and they told me the 10 trickiest things they thought about middle school. What are the 10 trickiest topics of middle school? And that started the chapters of this book. So this chapter is all about crushes and dating. And so that was named as one of the trickiest things about middle school. And I think one of the things that makes it tricky is sometimes people are way into crushes, and sometimes they're not at all. Like, that's not at all their experience in middle school. So we're going to do the choose your own ending from this chapter, which is on crushes. So in this story, there actually is a crush involved, but know that not everybody, is into that in middle school, and that is totally fine. But let's do that, and then you get a chance to actually create your own ending if you want to. If the endings I offered in this book don't suit you, you can make up your own. All right, so you choose the ending, the crush crisis. At a sleepover, you and your good friend discover you have a crush on the same person. At first, it's funny, but then it gets uncomfortable. The school dance is next week, and you have no idea what to do. What if your crush wants to dance with your friend instead of you? Or how would your friend handle it if you danced with their crush? Or what if your crush dances with someone else entirely? The dance is in 6 days. You choose the ending. What do you do? Okay, here's your options. Ending A. You decide to ignore your feelings. You let go of your crush and let your friend keep it. It's not worth jeopardizing your friendship. Turn to page 53. Ending B. You decide to see how the dance goes and let the crush choose. Turn to page 54. Ending C. You both promise to keep it secret. If the crush asks either of you to dance, you will say no. Turn to page 54. Ending D. Don't like any of these endings, add a new ending. Okay, so everybody got their ending in their head, A, B, or C, or their own? Okay, here we go. Let's see what happens. You choose the ending. The dance is in 6 days. You choose the ending. What do you do? If you chose A, you decide to ignore your feelings. You let go of your crush and tell your friend to keep it. It's not worth jeopardizing your friendship. You go to the dance with your friend, and soon the crush is informed that your friend likes them. You don't really want to watch them dance, so you head to the hall. Just then, the crush taps you on the shoulder and asks you to dance. You are stunned. You would like to say yes, but you see your friend across the room. Tears help you find the right words to say thanks, but I better not, because you don't want to hurt a good friend. Okay, so that was A. Ending B. You decide to see how the dance goes and let the crush choose. The week of the dance, things get crazy. Word leaks out that you both have the same crush. The crush is bombarded with questions about who they like more. Your friend starts to flirt with the crush, which makes your group of friends begin to take sides. The day of the dance, the crush reveals they don't really like either of you. To be honest, you feel a huge sense of relief. You and your friend decide to skip the dance and have a sleepover instead to repair your friendship. Okay, ending C. You both promise to keep it secret. If the crush asks either of you to dance, you agree to say no. But deep inside, you wonder if your friend will really say no if asked. You try not to think about it. The night of the dance arrives. You and your friend make a point to stay as far from the crush as possible. This actually becomes fun. The crush asks another person to dance, which makes you both laugh and have an even better time. You feel lucky to have such a good friend. And then there's space to write your answer for option D if you decided to write your own. Did either of you have a different option that you would have chosen in that situation?
I was kind of going with the C, but it was more like we would both go and not like, I forget exactly what was different, but I was heading in the direction of we would both go have fun with each other and not worry about the crush at all.
Nice.
And then so very similar to C, but I love that. That was so much fun.
That was really cool. I chose A because I'm the people pleaser.
When I was talking with kids, when I was researching this book, this was kind of a fairly common thing that happened. That's why I was like, all right, let's make a choose your own ending out of this, because this is fairly common.
And I liked the twists that you put, like, oh, and then he tapped you, or the crush tapped you on the shoulder, and you're like, oh, that's real life.
It is. You never know. You never know.
Oh, I love that.
So much fun.
And how many of those are in your book?
10. So there's 10 choose your own endings, all things that are kind of common, that stories that I'd kind of hear over and over. So yeah, so 10 of those on all sorts of different topics, from gossip to social media to some, maybe a bullying situation. So a fun way to explore those, but also a chance to think through, how might I deal with that if that happened?
Exactly. That's, oh my gosh, that's so great. I think I'm going to have to use a few of those this year in my own classroom.
Brilliant.
Fun story starters too, to think about.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if I do any of those. What I would actually do is this.
I like that. And knowing that there are choices in your actions, like if you stop and think through scenarios, what can happen.
Exactly.
So, really valuable.
Oh, good.
Well, Jessica, I can't believe our time's over, but here are your the ways that educators can reach you. Do you do author visits?
I do. And I love to connect virtually too. So if any classroom decides they want to dive into this book, I would be more than happy to connect, and we can do some of these activities together, or even just chat about whatever, middle school, talk about friendship.
Love that. Yay. Okay.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
To all our readers, we hope you enjoyed our show and are inspired to pick up some new and amazing books. We'll be back next Sunday with a new author, special guest, and plenty of fun. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Alexis.
And we're signing off.
No. Bye, Jessica.
Thanks, Jessica.
Bye.